There's a moment in almost every Bob Does Sports video where the vibe is chaos. Somebody's talking trash, somebody's laughing mid-swing, somebody's already blaming the course conditions like they're playing the US Open. And then you see him, big frame, long hair, relaxed walk. If you didn't know who he was, you'd assume he's there for laughs, the lovable buddy, the character. But then he steps up and hits a golf shot that's annoyingly clean. And that's when you realize why people can't stop watching him. Because Fat Perez isn't just funny, he can actually play good golf. Here's what makes this story worth telling. Fat Perez didn't come from the PGA Tour. He didn't get built by a marketing team. He didn't manifest anything. In fact, not long ago, he was working a regular job, playing golf when he could, and joining a Patreon Zoom happy hour during the pandemic because he was bored out of his mind. And somehow, from that very normal, very unglamorous starting point, he became one of the most recognizable faces in YouTube golf. So, how does that happen? How does an office guy turn into a full-time YouTube golf legend? Let's rewind, because the beginning is the best part. Fat Perez's real name is Nick Stubbe. Before anybody knew him as a character, Nick's story looked almost painfully familiar. He'd played golf his whole life, and he was good enough to compete in Division III college golf. But after school, he didn't slide into some pro golf pipeline. He slid into real life. A job, a schedule, the kind of weeks where golf gets pushed to a few hours during weekends. And that's what makes the next part so wild. Because the thing that pulls Nick out of that routine isn't a tournament win, or a viral swing clip, or some grand plan to become a creator. It starts with a nickname, and a Zoom call he joined out of pure boredom. And once those two things collided, his life stopped looking normal very fast. Nick didn't sit down one day and decide to brand himself as Fat Perez. It was a nickname other people gave him while he was out playing. So, when the pandemic hit and everything moved online, Nick started showing up to a Bob Does Sports Patreon Zoom happy hour, and instead of using his real name, he logged in as Fat Perez. The name popped on the screen, the room cracked up, and suddenly, he wasn't just another face in a grid of boxes. He was the guy everyone remembered. Bobby Fairways, the comedian behind the Bob Does Sports universe, later recalled how the name stood out immediately, and the visual made it funnier, because Perez looked like he was calling from work while pounding beers. That was the first click. Not golf, not talent, just energy, and a character you want to talk to. And then Fat Perez did the part that actually mattered. He kept showing up. He became a familiar face, a community person, a regular. And as that rapport built, there was a second click. They realized he can really play. Bobby put it pretty plainly later. The second they realized Fat Perez could actually play, it stopped feeling like he was just a funny name on a screen. He felt like someone who belonged in the mix. And that's the shift. Fat Perez wasn't only the guy with the hilarious Zoom handle anymore. He was easy to talk to, he fit the vibe, and he had a game that made you stop and watch. Still, there's a big difference between being great on a Zoom call and being great in real life. The moment this started turning into a real thing didn't happen online. It happened when Perez finally met up with Bobby and the crew in person at Pinehurst. In a Golf.com piece, Fat Perez later recalled it in a way that felt almost too casual for what it actually was. He says he happened to be in Pinehurst with his wife one weekend when Bobby was down there. They met up for drinks, then dinner, and then Bobby invited him to play Pinehurst number 2. If you're not a golfer, that might sound like just another nice course. But Pinehurst number 2 is the kind of place people talk about like it's a pilgrimage. It's history. It's bucket list stuff. And for Perez, that invite mattered for a different reason too. Up until then, he'd been a funny name on a Zoom call. This was the moment he became a real person in their world. Same dinner table, same tea time, same inside jokes. Because on camera, you can tell when someone's forcing it. This didn't feel forced. He fit. Perez later described it as a fan-to-coworker shift, talking about how strange that change felt in real time. And once that happened, the big question became unavoidable. Would Fat Perez leave his safe and stable desk job to join YouTube golf full-time? It was the moment most people fantasize about, and almost nobody actually does. He wasn't a tour pro, and he didn't have a lifetime of sponsorships waiting in the wings. He had a real job and a normal routine, and golf was the thing he escaped into whenever he could. Then the Bob Does Sports world started getting real enough, and his place in it started feeling clear enough, that he made the decision most people would talk themselves out of. He left his job in public accounting and went full-time with Bob Does Sports. Now, by the time Fat Perez started showing up in videos, the channel already had a rhythm. Bobby Fairways and Joey Coldcuts had the banter, the inside jokes, the chaos that made the videos feel like you were watching your funniest group chat come to life. Perez didn't come in and change the formula. He clicked into it, and almost without forcing anything, the dynamic became easy to understand. Bobby drove the energy, Joey kept poking the bear, and Fat Perez stayed calm while still being good enough to make every match feel real. And sure, luck played a role. Perez has been open about that. The Zoom call mattered, the timing mattered, the connection mattered, but luck only got him noticed. Staying there took personality and fit. And on camera, Perez was a natural. So, what is it about Fat Perez that just works on camera? If you want the formula, it's not complicated, it's just rare. First, he's relatable. He looks like someone you've actually played with. There's no performance of athletic perfection, and that makes him approachable. Second, he's comfortable in chaos. Bob Does Sports is built on noise, banter, reactions, side comments, bad swings that turn into jokes. Perez doesn't fight that energy. He sits inside it like he's been there forever. Third, he has real golf skill. He played Division III golf, and he talks openly about being a lifelong golfer. Put all of that together, and you get the tension that makes the videos work. He'll have you laughing on one shot, then step up on the next and hit it like he's playing for money. That's why he took off. And not long after, YouTube golf stopped feeling like a weird corner of the internet and started getting invited into real golf spaces. When it hit the mainstream, on the 28th of August 2024, the inaugural Creator Classic was held at East Lake as part of the Tour Championship Week. It was quick and kind of ruthless, a short run of holes starting on the back nine, where you didn't have time to settle in, and if it ended in a tie, they went straight to a playoff. Fat Perez played in it, and he finished 5 shots over par. And that's the full circle moment. The same guy who first got noticed because of a funny nickname was suddenly playing in a PGA Tour-backed creator event at East Lake. Not because he became a tour pro, but because golf was changing, and now, personality and the size of your audience mattered almost as much as the scorecard. This is why the Fat Perez story grips us. It's not some fairy tale, it's familiar. Most people aren't trying to become the best golfer on earth. They're just trying to get more time with the sport that makes them feel like themselves. Perez got lucky, sure, but he also showed up, fit in, and made people want him around. A goofy nickname got him noticed, but the personality kept him there. So when he strolls into a match like he just walked out of the office and then hits a shot that shuts everyone up, you just can't help but watch.